Neuroplasticity is our brain's ability to rewire certain neural pathways. And so that's just the way that your thoughts work together and the way that habits are formed, et cetera, right? And there's some really cool images online that kind of show you that happening live in someone's, in certain cells. But it's the concept that you can be an old dog that learns new tricks effectively, right? With habit, with time, you can change the pathways in your mind. And I'm going to give another vulnerable example here.
Welcome to Radiant Mom Rising. Get ready to be inspired, empowered, and uplifted. I'm your host, Mary Dibble, and in each episode, we dive into amazing stories, insights, and conversations that help moms like you chase your dreams and embrace your worth. Let's rise and shine together. Hey there, Radiant Moms. Welcome back to another empowering episode of Radiant Mom Rising. I'm your host, Mary Dibble, and today we're about to dive headfirst into a topic that so many of us can relate to: breaking free from burnout and embracing holistic success in every aspect of our lives. If you've been feeling overwhelmed, stretched too thin, or like your spark has been dimmed, you are not alone, and you are absolutely in the right place. In this episode, I'm sitting down with the amazing guest, Alenka Kyslik, who has been through the trenches of burnout and came out stronger, healthier, and more vibrant than ever. Together, we'll explore practical ways to heal, nurture our health, and create life-changing breakthroughs that transform how we show up as moms, entrepreneurs, and women. So grab a comfy spot, a warm drink, and get ready to be inspired. This conversation is packed with real stories, heartfelt wisdom, and plenty of tips you can start using right away. Let's rise and shine, mamas. It's time to take back our power and live fully radiant lives. Welcome back to Radiant Mom Rising. I'm excited to be here with today's guest. Alenka, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing real well. Thank you.
Good, good, good. Thank you so much for being here. Please, let's get started by introducing yourself and telling the listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah. So I'm Alenka. I am currently based in Los Angeles, but I grew up in a small town in Canada. So I definitely have a little bit of everything in me. I'm a chameleon in many ways. It's another conversation. Uh, you may find, a mix of camping gear and ball gowns in my closet is all I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, my background professionally is in software, building software. And when I say building, I mean like designing, architecting, and making something come to life. I'm not the person actually doing the coding. Some people, I just want to be clear on that. And in the last couple of years, I went through a series of health issues where I, did everything I was told to do. I listened to the doctors and I wasn't getting better. In fact, I kept on, re-injuring in my case. And so after 7 months of not being able to walk without being terrified, I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna gonna figure this out." And so I went down this journey of being determined to find answers for myself and get better, and that has led me to this crazy world that I never planned on being in, which is called entrepreneurship. Was not my plan. Now I'm launching a platform for people who have not found answers in conventional medicine, and we use matchmaking to connect them to holistic providers.
I think that's incredible. And I'd love to hear more about your story. Can we go back and tell us a little bit about what you were experiencing in your past that led you down this road that you were not getting the answers for?
Yeah, so it started with at the time, I thought it was a lot of brain fog, fatigue that wasn't going away, and I couldn't, like when I say brain fog, like, I couldn't think straight and I couldn't function. Like, I was always, like, a high performer. I would work a lot. I enjoyed working, and it got to a point where I couldn't get anything done. I would, like, spend all day writing 2 emails kind of thing, whereas I would be pumping out, like, 10 emails, an hour at least, if not more, as well as being on calls for 4 to 6 hours a day, right? That was, like, my normal working routine, and so for me to be in such a place where I could not do anything was terrifying, and on top of that, I was grinding my teeth really bad. To one point, I went into the dentist for, like, emergency because I was getting shooting pain in my jaw, and she's like, "Oh, you've just ground your teeth. Like, this is that you can do that from grinding your teeth." The short version of the story is I ended up quitting my job because I couldn't, it was not, I wasn't willing to risk my health and my teeth. I like to eat. So right? Something not negotiable. I love food. Anyways, and then a year later, I stepped off a curb and I tore apart my ankle. And that's when I mentioned the walking thing. And it was really interesting when I started to dive into it. There was a lot of overlap between the vitamin deficiencies that I found out that I had and the what was needed to rebuild my ligaments and what was needed to give me brain energy. I know brain energy sounds funny, but like
Oh,
vitamin D is really related to dopamine and motivation and energy as well as soft tissue. Like these are things that we don't really talk about and isn't said, but I was within range. I was at the very lowest of the range according to, my general practitioner. But then when I got some other tests done, there was a lot of other things. And when I looked at what there were deficiencies in, it was like, oh, like if you have a deficiency in B5, for example, that can be related to adrenal fatigue. And that's when you've been running on adrenaline for so long and like your body uses a lot more of adrenaline than, and that's all I had been doing my entire adult life and arguably probably from my teenage years, right? So this was just like
yes.
having to rewire not only how I'm living my day-to-day life, but like what I'm eating, how I'm standing, like so many things have changed today compared to 3 years ago.
I can imagine. And this is becoming a huge topic in today's world and something that I think more and more people are opening up to, realizing. And tell us a little bit about your journey as far as when you started to learn and research. What are some of the things that you came across that really stood out and kind of blew your mind as far as like kind of almost the simplicity of some of these changes you could make?
Yeah, so there's one instance. I'm trying to not let my blood pressure rise. This is a really fun experiment. If any of you feel like you have a blood pressure cuff, talk about something that makes you angry while you're getting your blood pressure taken. You'll
Mm-mm.
see it spike.
Like,
And then if
yeah.
you talk about nothing and you clear your mind, it's normal. It's wild.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's a whole nother thing. But the point being is after a year of going to the same orthopedic surgeon who was telling me to rest, to, do all these things, I asked him like, hey, are there any vitamins and supplements that I should be taking to help me get better? And he was like, oh yeah, you should be taking vitamin D. I'm like, you couldn't have told me this a year ago? Like, why did I was going back to him like every 6 weeks. Like, why couldn't I have found out, like I could have saved me so much time. And then this is when people get to know me, they're like, oh, your life is crazy. I'm like, yes, it is. That's true. So I broke my other foot. I broke my other foot like 2 years after that initial injury. I missed a step and it was, anyways, a small fracture, but it was still a fracture. I was trying to minimize it. People are like, no, this is your coping mechanism. You broke your foot. It's like, okay, thanks. And anyways, I went to the same doctor because, like, we're friends at this point. And he goes, and I asked him the supplement question because I was like, I'm not messing with this at this point. He's like, oh, yeah, if you take vitamin D, magnesium, and calcium that helps with the vitamin D absorption, you're going to like decrease your healing by a few weeks. And when you're talking about like a 6-week healing for most bones, right? That's like kind of the standard. And you bring that to 4 weeks, that's like a huge
Yeah.
difference, right? Yeah.
Especially when it keeps you from walking. I mean, you gotta, you gotta be able to move. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's in today's health world too, it's hard because what they're being taught in, medical school is
Yeah.
so limited to the things that's really out there that can truly help you and to really minimize a lot of the issues that we're seeing in today's
Mhm.
world with like chronic illnesses. And, you know, I would love to talk and hear your perspective of some of the things that you've learned along the way to share with us, maybe some tips, some advice for things that
Yeah.
people might be dealing with that, with their health. If they want to get started, like where's a good place to get to start?
Yeah, I think the best place to get started is to start to observe your body without judging yourself. And that sounds easy. It is hard.
Right.
I'm like 4-ish. No, I would say less. I'm like 2-ish years into this, like trying not to judge. And what I mean by that is like, if you're tired, like be like, oh, I'm tired and be curious about it and try to like Was it because you had a glass of alcohol last night? Was it because you didn't drink enough water today? Did you have a little less sleep? Are you tired because you had a really stressful conversation with someone? Right? Like, I had a pretty crazy morning worth of calls that were all, like, pretty intense for 2 hours straight. I had a nap at noon.
I bet. Yeah.
Naps, they're magical. Don't work for everybody, but all I'm
Yeah.
saying is, like, it's really, really hard to go to someone else to help you with whatever you're going through if you're not able to explain what you're going through. And that takes practice and time because most of us, myself included, have spent our entire lives ignoring and pushing through what is going on in our bodies. Like right now, if I sit down and this is after years of practice, I can sense my lower back is grumpy,
Mhm.
right? I can sense that. My like other things are going on, but the lower back is the biggest thing. And so if I'm was being good about this, to be clear, I am not perfect. Far from it. I should have stretched and done some Pilates, like spent 15 minutes doing that. And I know I would feel a lot better. Have I been working all day? Yes. So like but I'm saying like what if you start to be gentle with yourself and kind to yourself, and instead of being like, "Oh, I should have gotten that extra thing done," or "I should have done this," being like, "Hey, like, how am I feeling today? Where am I at?" Because when we listen and work with our bodies, it will work with you. I mean, it being your body, but your body will work with you instead of if you keep pushing against it, eventually your body's gonna shut down and say, "Huh, that's funny you thought this was gonna work because it ain't." Right? Like,
Exactly.
and we joke about this, like, in university when you finish your exams and you get sick, right? Because you pushed yourself so hard and finally your body's like, "Oh, I can breathe." Or people go on vacation and they get sick the first few days because like that is the first time their body had a chance to slow down. What if we slowed down more often? And what impact would that make on our lives? Like if you get extra 5 minutes of sleep or whatever it is, like there are a lot of small things that we can start with, but I think observing is the biggest piece.
No, it always is. And it's one thing I talk with clients as well, and anyone is always awareness. I mean, if
Yeah.
how can you change anything if you're not really even aware of what's been hurting you and hindering you all along? Because we get in our own ways, like what you were saying earlier. You are your own worst critic. That didn't come out of nowhere. We're hard on ourselves, and this is where that compassion, that self compassion, comes in, and really, evaluating ourselves without the judgment, out of curiosity, out of really being ready to I wanna make changes. I wanna be better. I wanna feel better.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, isn't that what it's all about, is feeling better? We all want to have healthy lives. I don't know about you, but as I get older, I don't wanna be one of those people who have arthritis, carpal tunnel, they're struggling to walk, they're always in pain. I know that there's a lot of things that are out of our control, of course, but there are some things that we have to in control of now. So what you do now affects your later. I talk about that a lot as well on the show because, this is why I encourage people get started today. There's no time like today because
Yeah.
what you're doing now is going to affect your later. So if you want a better later, then you need to start doing something now, even if it's small steps. So tell us a little bit about some of the small steps. Besides, I know you said you took some vitamin D, changing your supplements. Were there any other small steps that you started taking that you noticed started really making a difference?
Yeah. So many. I think really noticing like this is an example and I am working through it still, but I think it's always good to be vulnerable. I mean, that to me, I think, especially with what I'm building, I try to be as transparent as possible. Certain people, my mom included, sometimes, not every time, we have conversations and afterwards I'm really exhausted. And it's usually 'cause it's something going on in her life and that she feels like she wants to tell me. And, like it's nothing to do with the two of us, but anyways, it drains me. And then I spend a day or two recovering from that. And before I would have beat myself up and been like, "Oh, you should have gotten more done. You should have like pushed through." And now I'm like, "Well, what if I let myself feel how I'm feeling and allow myself to go through, well, what is it about this that is stressing me out so much? Like, why is this taking a toll on me?" And kind of allowing myself to process it instead of holding it on and ignoring it and
Mhm.
doing things to numb. I'm not saying that doing things to numb isn't like sometimes it can be very helpful. For me, it's TV a lot of the time, but it doesn't help solve the issue, right? You're just kind of pushing it out
Yeah.
instead of working through it. And sometimes that's what we need. And being okay with that, I think, is really important. And understanding, like for me, that is a self-soothing mechanism. I'm not saying it's the healthiest. It is just one of those things, right?
Yeah.
I think in being aware of that and then setting boundaries in place. So like with certain people, or in general, there's certain things that I'm like, there's no point of talking about it because it's just going to stress me out. And it's not like a conversation that's going to improve either of our lives or we're going to get to a better conclusion, right? We can talk, there's certain things
Yeah.
that are, that we all know what these things are, right? And with certain people, it's even, especially family, it like gets at you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right?
I
So being
know.
aware of that. But like
Mhm.
even small things, like my
Yeah.
mom was here for Mother's Day and we went out with a friend and her daughter and we had a lovely lunch. And for some reason, I had a headache and I went and had a nap while I had guests over and the world didn't end.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I think that's great.
Oh my god, I have to speak to that too because I know when I had, my baby, well, Brea, my when I had her, I remember being exhausted, and when people would come visit, instead of taking advantage and being like, "I'm gonna go lay down for a couple hours, like, while you take care of her," I felt like I needed to stay up because I felt like it was rude. I had to please. This is how much of a people pleaser I was too, like, how much I felt I would convince myself that I had to sacrifice or do this or whatever because it was rude. But boy, do I wish I had taken advantage of those times. And if anyone is in a situation like that, like you just said, I love it. The world didn't end, right? It's okay. People understand, and we need
Yeah.
to be more understanding. And even not, and honestly, not just that. Like you say, I respect you for setting those boundaries and not even caring if whether it bothered them or not, because you can't help how other people are going to perceive things or how they're going to
Yeah.
take it. And I think that's part of that people pleasing aspect that a lot of us suffer with. Me, I've definitely have been that, is like, we're so worried about what everyone else is gonna judge us or think about us that we really sacrifice the things that are so important for us and our own
Yeah.
well-being, including the energy. So you sound like to me like you're kinda like me with that empath of somebody who really absorbs other people's energy. So when you're talking to these people who, they obviously don't always mean to do this, but they're
Mhm.
struggling, they're stressed out, they're whatever, and they're sharing it with you. It's easy for us to literally intake that energy, and then sometimes we get confused of like, is this how I really feel, or is this somebody else's feelings? And that's a hard thing in itself to honor, to notice, to really evaluate for yourself, and really also find the ways to work through that, right? And find a way that it doesn't drain you like that, and then you don't allow it to anymore. And there's definitely great people out there. I have had this one lady who works with empaths and highly sensitive
Mhm.
people, and she teaches them all sorts of exercises and ways to really help in those moments where you can't avoid those family members or those ways to
Mm.
really help you to not get so bombarded by their energy, by their negativity,
Mhm.
or by whatever they're going through. I mean, because like I said, I feel you. I have a mom that I'm like best friends with, love her to death, but there are some days where she's just in this really negative, area, and it can be challenging to try to talk to someone like that. You know what I mean? Even though you want to help them, you want to lift them up, their spirits, you do your best. My goal, like I love, like Kathy Hiller says, is like, I want to project my positive energy. I want to project my energy onto you. She's like, let's us project the good energy out there instead of worrying about like being afraid of what we're going to expose people of or protecting our energy. It's like, yeah, we want to protect it from like the negative, but we want to project it for those who
Mhm.
need it too. Right. So yeah, I think that I love that you share this because it's so real, it's so raw, and it's just life, right?
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
just like
it is, and it's important the journey that you're on and what you're doing to help everyone get answers, right? I mean, that's what led you to starting what you did. Let's get into that a little bit and tell us more about this that you're working on.
yeah, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm still, like, processing what we were just saying because it's
Oh,
so true.
yes. I
And
know.
it's like yeah, I'm like,
I know.
tonight, I'll be processing it.
Hey there, Mama. We're going to take a quick break because I have something truly special I'd love to share. If you're a mom with big dreams of starting your own business, or you're already running one while juggling the demands of family life, I see you. I really do. I know what it's like to have endless to do lists, to feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, or even trying to find any kind of time for yourself while everyone else is needing something from you. Some days it feels like you're being pulled in 100 different directions and you wonder if it's even possible to do it all. Well, here's the truth. You don't have to do it all, and you definitely don't have to do it alone. My Mom Biz Mastery course and community is designed to help you take back your time, ignite your business goals, and to do it all without burning out. It's filled with practical, real world strategies tailored to fit your busy life. You'll get step by step guidance. And here's the exciting part: I'm now offering 6 private one on one coaching sessions alongside the course for even further support to ensure you thrive every step of the way. And if you're craving more personalized guidance, I also do offer one on one coaching with limited spots. But together, we'll create a plan that feels right for you, helping you get unstuck and step confidently into the life and business you've always dreamed of. So, Mama, if you're ready to put your dreams first, let's chat. Click the link in the show notes to schedule a free consultation. It's the first step towards making it all happen. You deserve to thrive, and I'm here to help you every step of the way. Now, back to the show.
I love it. Yeah. So I think, like, for me, what was really interesting when I saw, because I tried a lot of different things, and you also talk to so many, like, literally the people I would meet walking my dog, I'd be like, "Do you know any solution?" That I was at my wit's end. I'd be like, right. And one of them introduced me to my acupuncturist, and I'm so grateful.
Oh,
And
cool.
now we're like good friends. But the thing that I started to notice is a couple of things. So people can be going through very similar experiences, but they can really be in different places. So on the surface, if your symptoms can look really similar, but like you might be so drained you don't even have the energy to start looking into like what's causing you to be drained, right? You just need a little bit of relief, and that can take, let's be clear, burnout takes 3 to 5 years to heal from, right? Once you've eliminated whatever was giving you that
Yeah.
chronic low key stress or sometimes high level stress, like it's a long process, right? You can talk about neuroplasticity and all of that. That's a different conversation. So neuroplasticity, you want me to dive into
Sure.
neuroplasticity for a second? Okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm not an expert. It's just what I have learned. So basically we have the ability to, and I was actually talking about it with my therapist this week. So there we go. She's an expert. She has a PhD.
There's a
Um,
resource.
there we go. So neuroplasticity is our brain's ability to rewire certain neural pathways. And so that's just the way that your thoughts work together and the way that habits are formed, et cetera, right? And there's some really cool images online that kind of show you that happening live in someone's, in certain cells. But it's the concept that you can be an old dog that learns new tricks effectively, right? With habit, with time, you can change the pathways in your mind. And I'm going to give another vulnerable example here. So I am a woman. I have lived in this body my whole life, right? I have been judged in this body my whole life and been told to tuck in my stomach, to like in pictures, to that, I can't have a muffin top, all of these things my entire life. And I have had a new appreciation for my body in these last few years because my body is what allows me to walk. And that is something that matters to me. I was trying on a pair of jeans the other day that I had, I'm not wearing jeans often as pre-lockdown because so grateful that we don't wear jeans as much anymore. Point being is I was putting on jeans and I couldn't get it over my butt. And I was like, oh, I got strong. I've been able to work out. And that was the first thought that came into my head. So right? That's for me, that's neuroplasticity. That is the ability to rewire your brain. So the first thought that you have is, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I have more muscle. Not, oh my goodness, I gained weight. I'm fat and ugly. That's huge, you
That
know?
is huge. That
Yeah.
is amazing. And you're right. And I think sometimes the impatience that we suffer with is what makes it really hard to really stay consistent
Mhm.
with these, because it's like you say, it's you're completely rewiring something that's been a part of you or taught or put into you for so long, whether you want it there or not. And it's like, but how awesome is that? The reward of it, that if you stick to it, you really do the exercises, really do the work on yourself, that you can have that kind of response, that kind of perspective, that kind of outlook. And imagine your life too, as you continue to have these positive responses now,
Mhm.
naturally. Imagine what you're going to be attracting now to your life. All the positivity, all the amazing stuff, and the way you're going to also see and handle obstacles and challenges.
Yeah. It
So many things.
changes
It changes
so many
everything.
things.
It
It changes
does.
everything. It literally will change your life, but you have to be patient with it and you have
Yes.
to be kind and
Yes.
not beat yourself up about it. And being kind to yourself is I think the most underrated skill that
Isn't it?
Mhm.
That we do. We all have. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet look at the way you treat your children, your friends, people you love. Why is that so hard for you to treat yourself that way? Right. I mean, it blows my mind when we really like shift perspectives and start seeing like, ooh, just how hard we are on ourselves. I was there for so much of my life. I've always thought I was
Yeah.
like fat and ugly and never pretty, not good enough. Oh, I've had all those things, and a lot of that was conditioning from a child, as that I realized over time. And so,
Yeah.
having to really do the work on reframing those negative thoughts, reframing the negative talk, then and all those things that come, from that conditioning.
Mhm.
It's huge, though.
It's huge.
But so cool though because it's possible.
It's
And
possible, and it doesn't cost anything.
I
It's free.
know. Yes. It is now, of course, what might cost you is getting a little help along the way, which
Sure.
there's no shame in that because I'm sorry, for me, I know I would not be where I am today had I not invested in myself, had I not gotten the help when I needed it, whether it be
Yeah.
through a therapist or through a life coach or whatever I needed, positive books even. I mean, it doesn't have to be crazy amounts of money, people,
Right.
but just something that because what you allow in your world is
Mhm.
going to define who you become, and it's
Yeah.
going to have an effect. It's going to influence you. Hey there, mama. We're going to take a quick break because I have something truly special I'd love to share. If you're a mom with big dreams of starting your own business or you're already running one while juggling the demands of family life, I see you. I really do. I know what it's like to have endless to do lists, to feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, or even trying to find any kind of time for yourself while everyone else is needing something from you. Some days it feels like you're being pulled in 100 different directions and you wonder if it's even possible to do it all. Well, here's the truth. You don't have to do it all, and you definitely don't have to do it alone. My Mom Biz Mastery course and community is designed to help you take back your time, ignite your business goals, and to do it all without burning out. It's filled with practical, real world strategies tailored to fit your busy life. You'll get step by step guidance. And here's the exciting part, I'm now offering 6 private one on one coaching sessions alongside the course for even further support to ensure you thrive every step of the way. And if you're craving more personalized guidance, I also do offer one on one coaching with limited spots. But together, we'll create a plan that feels right for you, helping you get unstuck and step confidently into the life and business you've always dreamed of. So, Mama, if you're ready to put your dreams first, let's chat. Click the link in the show notes to schedule a free consultation. It's the first step towards making it all happen. You deserve to thrive, and I'm here to help you every step of the way. Now, back to the show. So it's very important that you're mindful of who you surround yourself with, what you're listening to, what you're
Yes.
watching. And trust me, as someone who loves my shows too, I know I don't always watch the best of things, but I am now so aware
Mhm.
that when I notice that I'm starting to feel a negative sense in myself, like let's say I've been watching because I like true documentaries about serial killers and things like that. I don't know why, but that stuff is just so like crazy to see all that stuff. But I also notice now that if I see myself falling into a sense of negativity or fears or worrisomes from exposing myself, I will take a break. I will
Yeah.
stop and I'll make sure to be watching some Tony Robbins or being in Kathy whatever I
Whatever it
need to
is. Yeah. Yeah.
whatever I need to, like, really
Yeah.
get myself back. And so that's just what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's, like, really allowing ourselves to be, like you said, starting with the awareness, being observant, understanding what triggers you, what's motivating you, what's not motivating you, "Why do I react this way? Why do I feel this way when people
Yeah.
say certain things, when people have certain behaviors towards me?" It's really it is a lot, but it's also so worth it. It's so worth it in the end when you come to this side where you're feeling good. You're feeling healthy. You're getting to walk. You're getting to appreciate the fact that you can walk, right?
Yeah.
So many
Yeah.
people would kill for that.
No, and that's the thing. I think the one thing, and I say it over and over again, is you are the only person you are guaranteed to have a relationship with for the rest of your life.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
what does that mean to you? How do you change that? How do you improve that relationship, right? Because, hating the person you're stuck with effectively for the rest of your life isn't going to make that relationship better.
It is so beautifully said, actually. It's so powerful. Like, hear that. I mean, it's true. It is. And then, true, if you don't really help make a healthy relationship with yourself, you're never going to have a healthy relationship with anybody else. No matter how much you try, no matter how amazing that person is, it does start with you. And if you can't love yourself, then no, you're not going to attract someone who's going to be able to love you. No matter what they do, it's never going to be enough either. You know?
Yeah, which is a whole nother
Oh,
topic.
right. I know, right?
Yeah, yeah. We could dive into, yeah, we'll be here for 3 hours, folks.
It's not the Joe Rogan podcast, but
No, gosh. Yeah, I was on one podcast as a guest and it was like 2 hours and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm tired."
Oh yeah, I bet so. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, you're right. There are so many conversations. This is why you bring guests back sometimes too, because there's so many different things you can always talk about, and it's fun
Yeah.
just having these conversations, but also very impactful because ultimately that's the goal is that we just really want to empower anyone listening to take action one way or another to just better yourself, better your life, love yourself, accept yourself, and really go after what you want.
Yeah.
And so tell us if you wanted to also tell us a little bit more about this program and what you've created and what it's about and what we can expect from it.
Yeah, so it's so wild how you kind of end up being in a place that you never expected to be, right? So basically, the reason I'm building Saha is because I saw a problem that I wasn't okay not trying to solve. Like, right? The fact that there are so many people out there who have done their best to try to find answers with the resources they had accessible to them, right? Whether that's through their, regular doctors, through their friends asking for advice, but that they just kind of hit a dead end and they're living this lower quality of life because they're not able to make improvements on their life. And I was like, this is not okay, as that was me, right? And I was like, if we can book a vacation rental on the other side of the world with an exact amount of bedrooms and whether or not it has a dishwasher, like all these very specific, like, why can't we do that for our health? Like, this is not okay, you know? So, yeah, so what we're building, and I'm working with a team to build this, is a platform that uses matchmaking to connect people to various providers. The matchmaking treats people as whole humans, right? So, yes, your symptoms are obviously a huge part of that. But we also look to see, like, where are you at in your healing journey? Do you just need relief? Because, sometimes when it's like really bad, that's all you can have space for. Are you ready to start digging into the root causes? Are you in a place where you're ready to commit to doing the work, which is different from actually doing the work, which is different from learning how to prevent and manage it? And we kind of match you to providers who are experts in those things, right? Because some providers are going to be like, hey, you need to change everything you eat, your mattress, like all of these things for whatever reason, right? And you might not be in a place where that is accessible to you, and that's totally fine. But let's not match you to that person because that's not effective for either of you. They're not going to feel good because they can't help you and you're not getting anywhere. You don't feel great. So that's one part of our matchmaking. We also have, I call it a value sliding scale. So on one end is our version of conventional, which is like chiropractic, acupuncture, functional medicine, et cetera. And then on the other hand, on the other end of this sliding scale, we have things like meditation, Reiki, et cetera. So those are, and then in between, we have things like therapy. Pilates is obviously on the conventional side as well. We have lots of different types of coaches. We have gut health coaches. We have life coaches on there. I have one person who uses Dungeon and Dragons as a form of therapy, and she creates custom campaigns. I know, it was the coolest thing ever. When I met her, I'm like, girl, do you know how amazing what you're doing?
Sure, a lot of guys would agree with that. No,
Right? Well, like, maybe therapy isn't for you, but maybe this is accessible for you, right? And I think that's so important is that, like, oftentimes somebody says, oh, well, you should do maybe therapy is the thing. Like, and you're like, for whatever reason, that doesn't feel right. And there's also so many types of therapy within that, right? Because there's a lot of interesting science behind this, but oftentimes when you repeat the stories of the trauma and the things that you've gone through, your body literally goes through it. That's what I was talking about with the high blood pressure. Right. And so maybe that is not what you're ready for. Maybe there are other things that you can do. And there are so many other types of treatment that is out there. The thing is, if you don't know, you don't know. Yeah. And so our matchmaking platform uses all of those things I mentioned, including ethnicity, religious beliefs, political beliefs, as well as your actual shared lived experiences. So if you have a history of substance abuse, if you're a parent, if you're divorced, if you're neurodivergent, we have a list of these things, and then you would be matched with someone, and those are optional. You don't have to fill it out, but if you do, you would be matched with someone who may have gone through those things. And to me, that means that you will feel more heard and more understood than if you go to someone who doesn't get what you've gone through. I would say 98%, I would have to actually do the calculation, but around there, are providers that are listed on the platform have gone through things. And that is why they are helping others, because they understand the impact of the work that they're doing and they care. They're not here to make a bunch of money. They're here to help. Right. And I'm really intentional about the providers that I pick on the platform because I want to make sure that they're for the right reasons. Right. And
Yeah.
because it makes a difference in the quality of care. So I could go on about that, but I
Love
hope
it.
that gives a first,
Yes, no,
example.
it's a wonderful, wonderful project you're working on. I'm excited for you. I can't wait to see how that goes and be part of it as well. I mean, it sounds amazing. And we'll be, by the time you hear this as well, there'll be some specials, giveaways, things like that, that they'll be available. So be sure to check that out. I really love meeting people like you who are pushing to help people in areas that is just not available. That's just not out there right now. And so many of us are really trying to speak up and really help. And right, this is what I'm using my platform for right here is I
Yeah.
want you to get your voices out there. I want to help anyone that I can, even if it saves one person from, giving up or feeling defeated or continuing to feel alone. And they're deciding to, hey, I'm going to make a change today. I'm going to believe in myself. I got this. I can do this. Like that means the
Yeah.
world to me. Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about where they could find you if
Yeah.
anyone's interested in learning more.
So there's one thing that I want to mention before I dive into that super quick. So this is just going to be a prototype that's going to be live by the time this comes out is a matchmaking. So you put in a little bit of information and then you get a results page and you can book directly with the providers. And then the full version next year will have everything included on the platform, right? All of the bells and
Yes.
whistles. And for both of these cases, we don't charge anyone to either go through the matchmaking process or to be listed as a provider. I mean, I could talk about that, but like paying for a garage space when you don't have a car is ridiculous, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
this
Yeah.
that's really important to me. But when the full version comes out, not the prototype, the full version, it's going to be a percentage transaction fee for each appointment booked, and that covers the cost of everything,
Of course.
including we are putting money from each transaction towards a fund that will be available for people who otherwise wouldn't be able to afford services.
Oh,
So
love that.
it's so important that we make this accessible to people regardless of their financial means. I don't think it's okay that healthcare is only accessible if you can afford it, especially in the States. Like,
Oh,
could go on
yes.
about this, but it's not okay. So, anyways,
Okay.
to
Yes.
answer your question, you can find us online mostly, right? Unless you want to stalk me in LA.
Don't tempt people.
No, I'm joking. But so
Love it.
Saha Collective, SAHA collective.com. And then you can email me info@Saha Collective. You can send me a message on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or TikTok, Collective. It's just me, I'm building a business. So it's not anybody else. But yeah. And then I'd love any feedback, questions, all that stuff. Open to it.
That's awesome. I wish you truly all the best with that. It's so wonderful because, like you did mention about the healthcare, it should be available, and unfortunately, it's not. It's hard. It's expensive. So many people, and even if you do have healthcare insurance or whatnot, doctors these days they're so limited even in what they're allowed to share, what they're allowed to. Pharma is running a lot of things right now. So, but if somebody's really out here listening and they want to get real answers or they feel like they haven't had answers, this is a great opportunity to get in now and get some feedback, get some experience, check it out before it does go live, even though, especially when it goes live, because then it's all together and you're supporting a great movement that's really going to help so many people all over. And anyone who's here who's all about supporting, small businesses, supporting people, be sure to show your support for sure. Share it with somebody who might can benefit, whatever you can, get the word out. So excited about that. I always open the floor up to any final piece of advice or if there's any thoughts that you'd like to share.
The one thing that really hit hard and kind of related to what you were talking about earlier is you are not helpless by asking for help. Doesn't make you helpless.
I
So
love
it's
that.
okay to ask for help. It's okay to, not do everything yourself. You're not, and I think that's been really worst case, somebody says no. And that's okay too. Like
Yeah.
that's their boundary. That's fine. But you'll never get help if you don't ask for it. I mean, there are some gems in the world who offer it no matter what, but like maybe that they're offering too much of themselves.
I think it's a sign of strength for sure. And like you say, I mean, when you don't take action and do something, right? It's like
Mhm.
you'll never know the things you don't know. You'll never know what
Yeah.
you're missing out on. It's if you're someone who's just ready to make a change in your health, if you're ready to learn something, here's a great opportunity to come and find someone who will be there for you and guide you and help you find the answers. Because right
Yeah.
at the end of it all, we're all looking for answers in one way or another, right? So let's
Yeah.
come together and help each other.
Yeah, exactly, and,
Mhm.
like, this spreads through, like, everybody helping, like, I can't do this alone, and I'm not
Yeah.
doing this alone, and I
True.
actively
Sure.
work with my providers, like, this is so important for me that it is part of a community effort because the goal is to not only make the end clients' lives better, but, like, let's take care of the people who take care of us.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much again for being part of the show. It's been wonderful having you.
Thank you so much for having me.
So grateful for the amazing work Alenka is working on. Here are the key takeaways from today's episode. Trust yourself and seek answers. If you feel like conventional advice isn't helping you heal or grow, trust your instincts. You have the power to advocate for yourself and seek out alternative or additional solutions. Start small with self awareness. Pay attention to how your body and mind feel without judgment. Noticing small details like fatigue, tension, or emotional triggers can lead you to deeper insights about your health and well being. Health isn't one size fits all. Alenka's journey showed how deficiencies in key nutrients like vitamin D, B5, magnesium, and calcium impacted her body. This reminds you that your health needs may differ and require personalized attention. Listen and learn from your body. Slow down and give yourself grace. If you're tired, stressed, or in pain, your body is sending you messages. Honor those signals and explore their sources rather than simply pushing through. Make small, sustainable changes. Start with simple adjustments like changing your supplements, increasing rest, or adjusting daily habits that work for you. Over time, small changes can lead to a big transformation in how you feel and live. Self-compassion matters. You might be your harshest critic, but what if you spoke to yourself with the same compassion you'd show to a friend or your child? Reflect on how self-compassion can transform your journey toward better health and self-care. Set boundaries for emotional health. Notice when interactions, even with loved ones, leave you feeling drained or stressed. It's okay to step back, set boundaries, and give yourself time to process and recover. Commit to your present for a better future. The choices you make now will impact your future health and well-being. Start today, even if it's just taking one small step to build a healthier and happier tomorrow. Stay curious, not judgmental. Approach your health and personal growth journey with curiosity rather than criticism. Ask yourself why you feel certain ways and explore how you can adjust your habits for better outcomes. Be sure to check out more on the Saha Collective prototype and giveaways happening now. Alenka's links are in the show notes for your convenience. We truly appreciate you tuning in and would love for you to share this episode with your fellow mom friends you know would enjoy tuning in, as well as leave us a 5-star review and show of your support to our mission to inspire and uplift all you amazing mamas out there. Also, let us know what was your favorite takeaway. Lastly, as a life coach, I am here to support you. Visit me at marydibblecoaching.com and schedule your free call today for us to connect and get a jump start on taking action towards the life you deserve. Thanks again for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Until next time, much love.